Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Grays podcast. And today, I am so excited to have with us Mr. Toto Orense, very favorite friend of mine here from Legazpi in Albi. And what makes him so unique is his story. And the story is one that really, truly inspires me. Truly, a lot. Okay. And so he's going to tell us a little bit more about himself and what makes him who he is, but most importantly, why he is who he is. So I give you none other than Mr. Toto Orense, who owns Alden by Toto Orense. All right. So Toto, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, before anything else, I'd like to greet you people. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here, Raymond, for this very special podcasting. Well, I am Toto Orense from Legazpi. I manage and own our shop, Alden by Toto Orense, situated at Rizal Street, Legazpi City. I have been in the industry for 18 years and I still keeping it and I enjoying so much of my work.
Yes, and what makes you different? Let's start with your story, actually. It's something that's really inspires me. Many years ago, you weren't a fashion designer, right? So he didn't go to school for fashion design or any of that, right? What did you go to school for?
I did not go to formal schooling for fashion designing, but
Yeah,
it's innate, I suppose, innate, because it runs in the blood. My brother, who had passed away several years, is an inspiration for me that to keep me going on designing. And another person, the name of my eldest, Nanette, who is also a fashion designer, which means it runs in the family.
so the design and especially the fashion design and artistic design runs runs in your blood, right?
Runs in the blood.
But most importantly is how he started and why he called this name of his company Alden by Toto Orense. So Alden is actually the name of your brother, correct?
Correct. He had a vehicular accident. After that, he had given me the opportunity to continue the legacy of my brother.
Right. So I thought that was an inspiration. So before he was a fashion designer, what did you do?
I was a professor then in Bicol University.
So he was a teacher. And then your brother passed away, correct?
Yeah.
In a vehicle accident. And because of that, he felt that he wanted to pick up where your brother has left off, correct?
Yes. And I suppose I am continuing his legacy
I think
as I promised him.
so. What was that promise you told your brother?
Before he left us, before he met a vehicular accident, there was a premonition already that he wanted to go somewhere and that he told me in a very implied manner that that I have to continue if ever he will be going somewhere.
Wow. So he already had this premonition that maybe he was being called by God, right?
Probably.
And so he made you promise him that if anything were to happen to him, you were going to continue his legacy.
And it happens.
And back then, if I remember correctly, you were telling me the story that your brother was very well known.
Very well known in Bicol, in Legazpi, in
Yeah.
the Bicol region.
Yeah. So he did a lot of gowns and
I
a
did,
lot of dresses.
did a lot of tuxedos, dresses, and all the stuff.
So he was already very popular. So for you to pick up his mantle where he left off must have been a shock, right? Not only to you, but to the customers and maybe even some of the Bicol elite who didn't feel that you could, who you could actually, as they say, cut the cloth, or even compare to your brother.
There was a comparison between us that most of our friends have made a comparison as to who is the best fashion designer, comparing me to my brother Alden, comparing the work I did and the works he has done before.
Wow. Where what was your biggest challenge back then?
It was a big challenge on my part because they expect me to do the same thing, to do grade two in doing the fashion designing, which I did also. And besides that, I don't have to be compared because Alden is Alden and Toto is different from him.
So you already had your own style.
I have my own style, I have my own clients,
Yeah.
and as I have told you last time, that I do not live to the expectations of other people.
Yeah.
I should have my own design. I should have my own style, I suppose.
Yes. And I saw some of your styles. They're actually very stunning dresses, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Raymond, for that.
You know, so could you tell us, in terms of your challenges, what was some of the biggest challenges you had getting into the fashion design? I mean, back then, before your brother passed away, you were just a professor or you were a teacher at Tobacco University, correct? And then all of a sudden you have to switch gears to become a fashion designer. How difficult was that?
Well, it's quite difficult on my part of opted for a cloth from the professional teaching to a fashion designer because I am afraid that people may not appreciate the design and the style that I will be having. And not that bad. They were able to appreciate that much.
Yeah, and did they appreciate it? I'm sure they did.
They did.
Right. And
They,
so,
they did. In fact, because if I did not appreciate my work and the designs I have, they would not. My shop would not last this long. Would not further this long
how long have you been doing this work?
for 18 years.
18 years. So that's true. I mean, you actually even survived the pandemic,
Yes.
right? That must have been very difficult.
It's a challenge on my part. So if you don't have enough savings, your chances are your business might be closed.
Yeah, because nobody was going to parties, nobody was buying gowns or tuxedos, right? Nobody was
It
really
affects us so much, especially on our part, being a designer. It is always equated with the events.
And what makes your dresses and your gowns so different?
Well, it makes my gown so different because it has my touch of my touch. And we do a lot of beadworking, stoning, and doing applicking. It's quite different and unique from other designs of the designers.
Yeah, I've seen some of your gowns. The most stunning ones is all actually looks like it's a corset.
Corset.
Right, is that your newest design?
That's classic.
Yeah, that was really beautiful, by the way.
I have put several sequins and beads on it.
Yeah. What were some of your earlier successes?
Well, I did a lot of fashion shows. We have managed to have beauty pageants like the Mutsa ng Albay, which I have showed, and I showcased rather, I showcased the designs for the swimsuit and the dresses for the production, and some of the gowns which some of the candidates wore.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to seeing your gowns, dresses, maybe at the Miss Universe and
Well,
some
I
of
hope
the
so.
more national.
It's one of my dreams.
Is it one of your dreams? I want to talk to you about what are your dreams?
Well, I dream of giving some designs, or I love to watch people wearing my designs, wearing my creations. Some of the notable and famous beauty queens like her.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually saw just an article on about her and that she was also planning on being another pageant. So I look forward to potentially seeing your clothes on her. That would be exciting. So tell us, what's your legacy? What kind of a legacy would you want to leave behind?
I wanna be remembered as fashion designer who is known for his craft of the simple and some of complicated work, but the elegance should be there always. I want to be remembered as a fashion designer who has a kind heart to some people who are less fortunate.
Could you tell us a little bit about more of that? Do you have a specific charity or foundation or?
We did some sharing of our blessings whenever we had our fashion shows. There are some beneficiaries who have gathered, or rather not gathered, who have received some of our blessings. We shared.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Because one of the things I have found out that with a lot of the successes stories and the individuals that I have been on the podcast, a lot of them contribute a lot of their knowledge or finances to specific kind of charities or individuals or
Some
groups,
charities, right?
right? And so yours is what segment, what group of people?
Well, some group of rather people of Agpay, Gidubatan. So less fortunate people in Gidubatan, and some patients in the PRTTH, the Bicol Regional Teaching Hospitals in Legazpi.
Okay. So do you
The
generally
pediatric patient, cancer patient.
cancer patients? Wow. And that's beautiful. So do you contribute your time? Do you contribute finances? Do you
I
contribute?
contributed my time. I contribute my time to do some worthwhile, like the fashion shows.
Yeah.
With some of the proceeds go to the less fortunate.
Okay. And tell us what is your secret for your success?
Secret for my success is to have dedication. Perhaps not only dedication, you have to give all your time and heart. The heart to do the tasks, the heart to do the work, everything. It should be a conglomeration of many virtues that you have,
So
many values that you have.
so the virtues. And what would you say what would be your advice to budding fashion designers
The promising,
or the youth?
the
Yeah.
the
What would
youth.
be your advice to them?
They have to love their work. They have to keep on dedicating to their work. That's it.
Dedicating to the work. You're one of the busiest people that I have met. In fact, last Friday you were supposed to be in
In Naga.
in Naga to join us for an event, but you couldn't make it because you were so busy finishing up 3 gowns, I think,
There are
for an
many.
event.
There are actually 10 gowns for the Chase Promenade.
Wow, wow. So he couldn't make it, because he was that busy. So it's being dedicated to your work, right? Is
Being
probably
dedicated.
one of the most number one thing that that all budding and aspiring fashion designers should have, right? And that actually goes beyond just the fashion designers. It could go about anybody who's seeking to be successful in their life, right? It's about that level of commitment.
The level of commitment.
Yeah. So number one is level of commitment. And your commitment to your work has brought you this far. Where do you see yourself maybe 5 or 10 years, even beyond just serving Pia Wurzbach and her gowns?
Still, I love to see myself doing some charities to be able to come up with these charities. I love to have a bigger and more meaningful fashion shows.
Meaningful fashion shows. Like in the Legazpi area, Albay,
Not
or
in
beyond?
Legazpi anymore, probably elsewhere in Manila or probably in Milan, Italy.
Milan, Hong Kong,
Hong
right?
Kong.
Yeah.
Well, that's possible. If you dream, there's nothing wrong in having a dream or dreaming.
Right. I like that. So as long as you dream,
As long as
anything
you
is
dream,
possible.
anything is really possible.
Wow. I really love that. If you could just say it one more time for the camera.
You have to continue dreaming because this dream might be possible, or should I say, it is possible. If you dream, dream big.
If you dream, you be. Well, thank you very much, Toto, for being on the show. It was such an honor to have you.
It's just an honor too to be here, to be having you as guest.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Raymond.
So, if you ever are interested in an amazing fashion designer and you're in Legazpi, please come see Alden by Toto Orense. All right. Thank you very much for being for joining us on the show, and we look forward to having you again. Thank you.